Here we go with the rebuild of the engine. Guess what I got out? The thermostat. All it needed was an extra bit of pull in on the end there because it seals nicely around the rubber bit. So I'm going to go boil it up. 55 to 60 degrees C is what it should open up at. Let's see if it's working. Right, we're up to 46 degrees C. There's no action. 48. 49. Nothing happening. 61. Ooh. 63. Something's happening. 64. 65. Oh well, looky there. 66. Now is that my thermostat that's wrong? Or my temperature gauge? 67. 68. 69. 70. So I'd say that's open. So I've just put the tiniest smear of the lithium grease on there. Let's see whether we can get this to push in. Let's just put it in square because I'm being a little bit anal. So yep, that's the thermostat in. So I'm going to wipe this face off and put the hosing back on. Right, that's the hoses back on. Just that bit of protection to put on that hose. Top hose and covers. Thermostat back in. So next we've got to reconnect the electrics. Let's put that on and see how that goes. Back in the workshop. We're just roughing down the parts of the exhaust. Taking off the exhaust mounts so that we can then just rub this down and give it a bit more of a shiny coat or something to keep it protected. There we go, I've flattened it back a bit, taken all the loose stuff off with the wire brush and gone over it with a bit of wet and dry as well. Not getting it all back to bare metal, but just something so it's keyed in nicely. So time to clean it all up, stick it somewhere or hang it somewhere, and then we're going to put some paint on it. Right, it's had a bit of a wipe down with a rag as well as a blow. I'm going to leave it on the bench now for a little while. It's 17 degrees in here. I've got a couple of allergens running, so hopefully that'll warm the workshop up a bit. And I've got the fire ticking over as well. So I'm going to go back indoors, have a cup of tea, shake me rattle can, and then come back out, and hopefully we've got to somewhere more like 19, I hope. Anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, it's half an hour later. I've come back out. Looks like we're up to 21. That's very nice. So I've got my paint, some of this VHT stuff. I'm never all that. I'm always a little bit underwhelmed by this stuff because, well, it just makes it sort of a dull matte black. But it's all one colour and it's better than it looking like that. So we'll just freshen it up each year. The exhaust always disappoints me as well. I've got this long-term intention that I'm going to get a TIG welder. I'm hoping it's going to be this year. And I'd love to see whether I can master welding titanium. Don't know whether I could or not. My welding isn't that brilliant at the moment. I've done a bit of TIG welding. Didn't look too bad. I'm sure it looked a bit better than this. I mean, this is the Rotex welder's handiwork. So yeah. But if you can imagine the thing I'm on about, it's the sort of stuff you see on resto mods where they have those beautifully stitched downpipes, you know, the sort of thing I mean. Don't know whether I'll ever get around to doing it, but there must be a kilo or so that we can save in weight just by swapping that out with a better material. Anyway, enough fantasizing, let's get around to spraying. Not bad. So what else have we been doing besides painting exhausts? Well, we've turned the engine round. I've clipped the tank back on. It's got this little bit of a rubber cushion at the back. All the electrics are back on. I've thread all these back through, all their protective bits of sleeving. One of the yellow wires here wasn't protected when it went through the plate, so I put a bit of heat shrink on that, and then I've bound them all together, clipped them up there through that plate with a cable tie to stop any sort of vibration. So I just need to put some two-stroke oil in that tank. This is the two-stroke oil I've only ever used in this engine. It's what was recommended. So let's whip the top off and see whether we can get some in there without making a mess. Put a new Jubilee clip on that right hand hose. The old one looked a bit sus, so I thought I'd put a fresh one on. What else have I been doing while that's filling? I put a piece of cable wrap on the inside of that hose just to stop those witness marks from increasing anymore. Not that they were a worry at the moment, but I don't want them to get that way. A couple of cables. So I've topped it up a couple of times to the line and it's settled a little bit, so what I'll do is I think I'll just leave that till tomorrow and then top it up to the line again. The great thing about bringing your engine indoors and having a good go over it is you get to have a good look at every last bit. You can clean it right up and check things. This one isn't too bad. If you really stress it out, you can see it's starting to open up a bit. The one on the other side has got a couple of little almost slash marks in it. So what I did the other day was I placed an order with these people, AV Mounts online, Leicester, and I got 4 new bobbins. The ones at the top here look okay, but eventually they're going to need changing. And to be honest, the cost of the postage was as much as, well, would cost more than the mounts, I think. They're £2 each, £2.29 each. So £9.16 for 4, and £18 in total with the postage. So I thought I might as well have 4. So it needed a bit loosening off with a pair of grips, but now it's unscrewing. I popped a bit of. There we have it. There's the new mount on there, and none of that perished look to it. So we've turned the engine round again. I want to have a look at this temperature sender. So I'm going to whip that out now and put a connector on there because it was hardwired onto the loom. Well, obviously to get the engine on and off, it'd be much easier to have one of these waterproof connectors on there. So there we have the waterproof connector soldered on. They're actually very neat. Should stop any crud getting in there. This one will go on the wiring loom for the plane, and it's got a couple of these connectors that are soldered on. I have actually got a second one of these given to me by a good friend and shadow enthusiast, Brian Canal. So what I'll do is I'll put another one of these connectors on to the one that Brian gave me, and I'll measure them both, and whichever one is the closest on the readout, I can just clip it on and stick it on the engine. Brilliant. Next little job is put my manifold on. I've got my 6 bolts, I've cleaned up the faces, and I've got my new exhaust gaskets. So just checking on the manual, it says it's 22 Newton meters of torque. Let's see what this looks like. So the 3D printer strikes again. Can you guess what it is? Well, here's some I repaired earlier. There we have them installed. Very neat and tidy.